Welcome to Accountants Law Pod, where accounting professionals and law firms converge. Hosted by Lynda Artesani, Sarah Prevost, and Steven Libhart.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. And this is going to be landing right at our three-year mark. So we are going to be 3 years old with a podcast, which I guess is kind of rare because if you ever find a podcast you really like and then you start to follow it and then it just stops and you're like, yeah, it's gone. So and I know Teaira just turned her camera off, but maybe she can turn her camera back on.
Yes, come join us.
Bring her back in and just say, here's the girl behind the camera. Isn't she beautiful?
Yes.
She's our producer, our everything for like the topic person and all the social media. Sometimes she's Sarah. Sometimes I think she's me. And I don't know, Steve, is she you too?
She's Steve when his microphone breaks and stuff like that.
She's our everything, just so you know. She's our everything.
So, we can't celebrate without you.
It's a lot of hard work to keep a podcast going for this long. And
especially with us, right?
It's like herding cats sometimes.
She's very good at herding cats.
Yes. No, I'm really proud. I can't believe that we're already kicking off season 4, and
that's just amazing.
Well into 1,500 downloads. I think this episode specifically is episode 158.
Wow!
And it feels like yesterday that we started doing this thing. So
that is
also our assistant, so she handles like a whole bunch of stuff for us. And nobody can steal her. I'm just going to put the box around her right now because she got this job of doing this. And she's like, sure, I'll do it. And that's how she does things. She just kind of like grabs the bull by the horns and figures it out. And I think she did a great job and finds our people to do our mixing and fixing things. And
everything's figure outable at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's a fun challenge.
Good job at it.
Well, it's an important, I cannot believe it. It's an important journey. And I'm so happy you came back on camera because you're just as important to this whole thing as
it wouldn't happen without you. I'm going to tell you that right now. We would not be sitting here
bossing you guys around the whole time.
Yeah, I love it. It's like that ruler.
No, it's been fun. And I love hearing from members of the Law Lab, or we hear from people all the time that I listen to the podcast or I watch on YouTube, and it feels so good, and it's wonderful to have such a large community around it. And I love telling people that this is what I do, because when they find out that it's a podcast about legal accounting, they're like, "What?" That's very niche, but for such a niche podcast, it's wonderful to see it grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
we're grateful for you, T.
And I'm grateful for you guys. And so now I'm going to hop out and we're going to dive into this week's topic.
We do have a topic.
We do? No, I'm kidding.
We do have a topic. It's a little early in the month, but it's something that I think it's good that we discuss it because we want you to all be ready, because it's actually, you got to let the month finish to be able to get the year-end mid-year review done. It's mid-year, where's your business? And it's a great topic to discuss. Who wants to start off with Steve? I'll pick on you.
I was going to say, Steve.
What?
This is right.
I think it's the best time of the year because you can breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can reassess where you're at. You can focus on that to-do list of things that you keep putting off. But it's that time of year where if your workflow software tracks 1099s, jump in right now and see where your clients are. Mm-hmm. Start working on that. Look at balancing out, double checking your payrolls against the payroll provider or wherever the reports come from. Make sure everything ties back. Get on the phone with your clients and check in if you haven't talked to them for a while, see how they're doing, what's going on, especially this year with, everything's so kind of wackadoodle in the world right now. It's a great time to keep in touch with clients and say, hey, we're already halfway through the year. How are you? What's going on? What do you expect? What are you hearing in your industry? What are you hearing?
Appreciate that too. Clients really
do
that you take the time, because what do we hear from a lot of them when they come to us? And we're doing the bookkeeping service side, they're not doing the tax side, and they come to us like, I don't like my tax person. I never talk to them. All they want is a bunch of papers, and they file the tax return, tell me what I need to pay.
Right.
No relationship with them whatsoever. And I always say to them, well, you're it's up to you to kind of facilitate that
Well,
relationship because yeah, you're talking to them when they're at their busiest and they have this major deadline that they have
right.
to meet up to. So it's not always, they have to take a little ownership of it too, when they complain about that. But
It's so weird to think like we just finished through the tax season, the current deadlines. Obviously, the extension deadlines are in the future, but how quickly you move through that. You're already into second quarter
I know.
and you're already thinking, okay, what's my end of year? It's just it makes life feel a little bit short, sadly,
It sure does.
in that
But
way.
it's a good thing that Steve just said about because if you analyze your payroll and look at the balance sheet, make sure everything's
Yeah.
like all the liabilities because it's fixable, much more fixable to catch whatever's going on now than to wait to the
Right
end of
now.
the year and then you only have a couple of days because then you have to go to payroll corrections
Exactly.
and stuff. So you want to do that. And also, have you made your estimated tax payments? Because maybe you're rocking and rolling, making a lot of money, pay it on time by the quarter so that you're not faced with penalties and things like that because you didn't pay it,
Or adjust your payrolls if that's how you're doing it.
Yeah,
I
if you're
mean,
getting paid, right?
make those changes.
Hmm.
I do feel that because part of the way the world is working, there's a lot of changes in software and software companies acquiring other software. So I will say that this feels different this year because I feel like I'm navigating a space of, okay, it's been acquired, it's moved over, now it's the new software, now we have to go re-sign up, redo all this. It just feels very bumpy right now in a few places that are not normally like that. But I feel like it's a good time to possibly sort of reevaluate a little bit of like, okay, do the tools I have in my toolbox actually work for me?
Oh,
Am
good
I in a
point.
good place to like, do I need to cut some of them loose? Lynda and I, admittedly, we opened up a software, it renewed on us, and we found out that we had at least one person that shouldn't have been on there. I'm communicating, thankfully,
It
with that
seems to be
software.
like, and I look back at the year before, it's same
Yeah,
month, Darren. It seems to be a month when all our software annual
kind of
charges hit.
hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
I
right.
looked, I'm like, holy moly, we paid a
Yeah.
lot last year. It wasn't as much as this year, but of course we've
Yeah.
grown. But you want to do that. And the beauty of this time when it's summer and it's
Yeah.
slower, less happening, usually that first week of July is kind of people take vacation. It's a good time to kind of analyze this because compared to December when it's holidays and things are happening and then the year closes on you, then you're stuck. You can't fix things. This way you can look at what you
It's
got
really
coming,
hard.
what you've done
Yeah.
and make the changes there. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about AI. And I know one thing because we're hearing the vibes of AI now. Do you take and buy in an annual or like we were all in Chat GPT and everybody's saying go over to Anthropic because it's better. You don't want to be locking yourself into a year into a product that it's not going to be beneficial or useful to you 6 months from now because it's changing so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to look at that too.
Touche. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that, and it almost is scary because so much of the AI is grinding this economy now, and it's almost like, I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
just, it seems like we're in timing for some kind of a crash. I hate to be Debbie Downer, but you know how
Well, do you want
it
to know
goes in
what?
these, yeah, doesn't it feel it like, because the stock market's still going up, going up, going up. And I'm like, it can't keep doing that. It kind of goes in 7 year cycles. If you think back on when things bubbles
Oh
burst,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
And I gotta think we gotta be close to that right about now
What were
ish.
you
Well, and I
been?
heard something encouraging on the news yesterday, I think it was, about AI. They
Okay.
said that AI in the medical field is actually doing better diagnosis than doctors do.
Yeah.
But it also said it will never replace doctors because people want the human touch. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there you go. Finally, now, for the first time, I heard
Mhm.
it coming from AI that, people who develop it and all that, that we still need human touch. And I'm like, and that's what we bring into this industry.
Mhm.
And that's what
Have you
we're
seen
doing
any
in
of the
this
AI
talking today's.
have you seen any of the AI that they have in China what they're doing with like the medical stuff that they do where they're not even there's no human interaction. A lot of it's
Right.
done where they put their hand in a machine and it does the blood pressure and everything's like done right. Like they go to these
Mm.
kiosks. It's crazy how they're at this place that we're not at yet,
Mhm.
but it's almost like you can see where we would go to. I mean, I talked to a doctor that I work out at the gym with, and he told me, he said, I can't we've been using robotics and things for a long time in computer programs. So I'm looking at it as a computer program. Will it replace the doctor? He said, well, a lot of the surgeries might be able to be performed by the robots. He said, but there's got to be somebody watching it because
Right.
robots go wrong. Have you ever had a Roomba? We've had Roomba, we've had robots in our house. Have you ever seen what Roomba can do sometimes? It doesn't know how to autocorrect, and you wouldn't want that operating on you,
Well,
right?
this is all such a good point because honestly, I feel like with the mid-year check-in and like if you're going to utilize tools to say evaluate me, how do you know if it's right or wrong if you're going to use an AI tool to do that?
Have to know.
You don't know. It's someone with the experience and the expertise, and I think it's in the similar vein of what you both are saying. It's like at some point that there's compassion and there's an element to human body understanding this and having a logical conversation. Someone in Kosovo said it really well, and I hope to find the piece. Let me see if I can find it. I'll share it with you because I thought it was really important on how they stated the AI being a it's something like a solution, but not a something else. Let me see if I can find it while
You
we're
know,
continuing
with
this
even
dialogue.
because I played around with it a lot this weekend, Steve, I still haven't gotten you to show you what I did, but
I
um,
know.
I
We'll
wanted
get
to show
there.
you because I played around with it, and you do have to. There's a learning curve to figuring out how to make it work and get you the result you want to get. And I
Right.
was telling Sarah, I was writing articles this weekend and getting ideas of what I wanted the articles for, and it didn't really do a very good job at giving me the ideas. But then I said, "Here, can you write like the base article or write the outline?" And one of the articles it wrote for me, I started going through it and I'm going to add my own personal touches and stories and had it pretty much write parts of it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know the software had that in it. It didn't. I went back, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I didn't even realize that that was a thing inside this software. And then I went into the software and I'm
Interesting.
like, there's no report with that name. Like it made that part up. So if you don't know that and you let AI write your articles,
Yeah.
right? You don't pay attention. You have to have the knowledge of what you're doing to
well,
be able to get
to
it to do what you want.
kind of go into what our subject is today about mid-year review.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We have that personal touch that AI does not have.
Mm-hmm.
And the attorneys can be using AI. They can, they can double check things that we're doing in AI, whatever they want to do. But we become that most trusted person to them with that personal touch. So, I don't worry about AI taking our jobs. I'm thankful that it's helping us in our work.
But do you think that AI will, I can foresee where AI will probably take a lot of the lawyer jobs away because
It
of a lot
could.
of it is just even like the tax people's jobs away because it's very regimented to what it is. It's black and
Regimented, yeah.
white, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's black and white and it's certain things are certain things and like documents and filling stuff out and things that normally would be done by maybe a junior attorney
Mm-hmm.
done by AI. We take
Yeah.
things and put it in there and ask it to like summarize my estate plan and tell me what this says in regular language because it's, ridiculous how it's written. And then let me know what I should say to the attorney when I go and redo my estates because it's been 5 years and this is what I'm trying to do. How do I approach the person to do it? And it will walk you through a really good process of having that conversation to keep it very tightly spaced so you're not charged a lot by the attorney. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's, you can actually get a pretty good result without even hiring them. I wouldn't do it because ours is a little bit complex and you want it to be, but you can tell it when you're talking to it, has to go by the rules of, for me, the state of Florida, right? And have it kind of give you suggestions. And then
Yeah.
you arm yourself with the information when you go meet with those people. And I
It
think that
does a lot
that's,
of the front end thinking for you.
yes, but you got to make sure it's right because that's the
Correct.
other thing. I mean, and that's, I think too, with mid-year, maybe you can take your data out and pull out your financials and have it analyze that if you want, and just say, here's where I'm at. Where do you see the weaknesses or where I can improve? And maybe compare me to other law firms. And that's kind of what the AI in QuickBooks is supposed to be doing because QuickBooks can see the data stripped of the names, and it's supposed to help you with their new enterprise suite. It's supposed to help look at the KPIs that way from a perspective of, your law firm's this type of law in the region that you also, there's your competition is here, where you should kind of be going. That's the long-term outlook for that, whether that'll ever, I'm sure it will come to fruition. It's just so new. But I've been playing around in that. I don't know if you've changed yours yet to the one that we're going to all be forced um, into
Oh,
it enterprise. I
Intuit
changed
one.
my
Yeah.
Artesani company just so I could take a look
Did
at
you?
it. It was not mind blowing. It looked exactly like what it was, except it's a different color. Like this banner is different, and it has other buttons in there, which are kind of cool. And I haven't really played around with, but I wanted to see what it was going to look like. We're going to be forced into it anyway. It's not like, and I didn't go for the extra fancy one. I went for the free one that we're going to have to switch to, which we're going to
Oh,
be forced into like in August, I think.
oh,
I was
yeah, I'd
just
love to
curious
see
to
it.
see.
I wish I had the note, probably on my computer. It was just the way that they talked about the digital. They're very digital focused over there, in that speaking engagement I was in, but I'm sorry I couldn't remember it. If I do,
Well,
I'll post it later.
I'm beta testing a software right now that I joined after a podcast or after I found it online in a Facebook group with Hector Garcia, and he
Mm,
picked out some people and got us into the beta testing group. And this software takes the books from QuickBooks or from Xero and analyzes them in many different ways and points out things
hmm
that it thinks that you need to look at and change, consider changing. And
hmm
if you tweak the books this way, this is what it does, and so on and so forth. Kind of acts like that CFO electronically. And then when it's all done, it makes recommendations on how you, as the most trusted person to that client, can recommend additional services to them.
Oh,
It's way cool. And I've been playing with it,
wow.
and oh boy, do I
Yeah,
like it.
but tell her the caveat that you told me about if you do their
Well,
recommendation.
what I had heard about it is that if it recommends some sort of service that you can go ahead and present to your client and they purchase it or take it on, that this software company gets a certain percentage of the revenue for that add-on service, and that's how they're making their money, which I'm fine with that. I really am, because
Huh.
what I've seen so far is it's really dynamic in what it's thinking and what it's recommending and how it's tweaking. And I took a set of books for a club that I belong to, and I did a whole new file and I messed it all up and took it in there, and it had it cleaned up like in 3 minutes. It was amazing. So I'll
Interesting.
give you more information as I
Yeah.
play with it, because I just joined the beta
Yeah.
test on that, and
Yeah.
it runs clear up to December. So
Well, I will go back since I did my little intermission. I'll go back to one big thing that's on this list that we have here is setting financial priorities for the rest of the year, which I feel like ties in with the tax planning, the tax estimate planning that Lynda brought up, and your partner distributions,
right,
and evaluating sort of where you are with your next 6 months, I guess you could say. I mean, some
labor
people,
cost.
yeah, the labor costs and those things and what's going to be practical. A lot of people, it's hard. I've sat in certain planning sessions where I'm not the tax person naturally, but I'm sitting in the session and I hear, okay, can you forecast the rest of your revenue out? And I think to myself when I'm sitting there, I'm like, can I answer that question honestly? What can I answer? I can answer part of it. Part of it I know is an anomaly. It's just a guess, right? Like,
It
uh,
is, but we actually did when you were away. We did like planning a vision board for your business, which was really cool, and we ended up making it a part two. So you'll get to
yeah,
come into that, Sarah.
yeah,
Tiara made a beautiful presentation, and we followed that through. We didn't get through the whole thing because we got so involved in like how do we do this and how do we do
yeah,
that and how do we think, and it was really thinking in the short term as well as like maybe a little bit down the road, but it wasn't looking at 5 years. It was really in the short term, where
yeah,
do you want to be? And I think that's a good action to do with your business, because people do it for their life. It's not bad to do it for your life either. And sometimes you might want to do that first before you do the business. But it was a really good meeting that we
You're
had
saying in the law lab is
in
what
the
you're
law lab. Yeah,
referencing?
we did it in
Okay.
the
Yeah,
law lab. It was really good. I
Oh,
mean,
cool. Yeah, that's
and
exciting.
we
there
did
was a
one
lot
of
of excitement there on that.
Yeah,
and
that's
that one was very
exciting.
well received,
Yeah,
because I think it's something you don't think about doing, because we put our head down. I mean, the law firms do it too, right? Our attorneys, they put their heads down and they just work, work, work and grind it out, grind it out, grind it out. They're always working and they don't take a stop and a breath. And this is a great time of the year to do the stop and take a breath and kind of look at everything from a high level to see what would be
yeah,
where you want to be. and
Yeah.
start to think about it and think about personally and then how that reflects into the business. You know, do you have a child going to college?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they coming into the business or are you retiring? I mean, there's a lot of scenarios
A lot
that
of scenarios. Yeah, for sure.
you want to
You
look
know,
at.
it's a good time of the year too if you have projects either in your law firm or in your accounting practice,
Mhm.
depending on who you are in the audience. It's a good time of the year to go out and find an apprentice because they take off time from their education in the summer,
Yes.
Mm.
and you can get an apprentice in that you can
Yeah.
help groom and teach and
Yeah.
work on your special project. And, you know, so think about that. This is a great time to do that.
That's a great suggestion because I understand it's quite hard, especially in the strategic pieces that they need. And us smaller firms, I think it's a great suggestion. I know Lynda and I've like danced around it a few times, but it's been about bandwidth.
Because you got to
I-
train them.
It's
I mean,
a
I-
different bandwidth, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same. It's similar. We see a client of ours that does this quite a bit, actually,
Mhm.
helps somewhat
good at it,
groom
yeah.
so he could, maybe have them as an attorney. So,
I've worked in firms where that's where
that's
we've
where yeah.
we've brought in interns and they turn into attorneys and they turn into good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, one question I was thinking about here in our list is the cash flow, and how you look at through that cash flow lens of like where you're at and what you need. Kind of like I think what Lynda you're saying is like you can project out, you can potentially do that, but also tangibly you need to think about what that cash is because if you're going to grow or bring on somebody, that's a
Mhm.
cash up front moment. So what
Yeah.
does that look like for your
Exactly. And
something
how
to
many
plan
people are
for.
putting money in savings right now, you know, with the uncertainty in the economy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I read an article this morning when I got up and had coffee. The CEO of Chevron today
yeah.
said that with the Strait of Hormuz and all of that going on right now, he's forecasting that we could end up like the 1970s and have gas rationing again.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
remember
like,
that.
Worry about.
That's how I met my first husband.
yeah, I remember those lines. That's how you met him?
1979. Yep. We had to wait in line to get the gas. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
what I worry about. Yeah.
But it's a good time of the year to look at your client's
Yeah.
financial situation and say, how are you doing? Where are you going? What are you doing with this money? You know,
Mhm.
make a nest egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the temperature of what your clients are doing. Are they slowing down? Are they busy? Are they getting busier? A lot of times attorneys either go one direction or the other in this type of economy. They either really slow down and the other ones get really busy
Yeah.
because
It's
there's a
weird,
lot of
isn't it? With the
litigation
practice
that goes
series.
on.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. 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 So I feel like we did talk about like so year-end financial performance. We talked about cash flow trends, setting priorities for the
Look at
rest
your
of the year.
AR, right? Your
Financial. Yeah, look
AR.
at your
You should be
AR.
looking
AR.
at that all the time. A lot of these
Um,
things you should be looking at monthly.
taxes and well, some of them quarterly retrospect,
Mhm.
right? Planning on taxes and partnership, which goes to setting those financial priorities because those will help you kind of set the forward thinking.
Mhm.
And then, you might want to at that point, if you have the bandwidth in that project space that you're talking about, Steve, is what practice areas are successful if you're engaging in a new one? How has it been? Some people kind of cut things off too fast. You need
Right.
to give it a little bit more time. So yeah, the that's in recap. It's some good highlights to things to think about. So yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Good topic.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a quick review. And while you're at it, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Do you have a question or a topic that you would love us to cover? Drop us a line at info@accountantslawpod.com, send us a message through our website, accountantslawpod.com, or leave us a comment on any of our socials. Your idea might just make it into a future episode. And if you want to go beyond listening, consider sponsoring an episode and get your company in front of our growing community of accounting and legal professionals who love learning, laughing, and leveling up. And as always, don't forget to join the conversation inside the mastermind group at our Accountants Law Lab at accountantslawlab.com, where collaboration meets inspiration every week.
Well, looks like Chester says we're done.
Yeah,
He's taking Walter's role.
he's trying to get outside. He's been down here
Oh,
begging.
look at that.
Yeah.
His face
Are
is
we
so
all
cute,
done,
isn't he?
Chester Boo Boo?
He's so
Look at the
cute.
face.
So funny.
Look at him. Well, thank you
thank
for
you.
watching.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.